have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to or during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?
When the wolf is at your door, your running's over, that's for sure. He already knows all about you. Cut you down, no matter by you. Now you better walk the line. Real life, real
Warning. This episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast, may contain descriptions of acts of violence or that of a sexual nature and should be for people that are 18 years or older. Heed my warning, people. I do not get the facts of these cases off of the internet or from some television show. The facts I'm retelling you were presented to me by the victims of the crimes or the perpetrators who committed the crimes against the victims. My descriptions of the crime scenes, what I saw with my own two eyes. If you're going to get offended, please turn this podcast off now. Thank you. Hello, everybody, and welcome to this episode of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. As always, I'm your host, Woody Overton. And today, we're going to be beginning the first official series of #Justice4. Now, I originally was going to drop this underneath a different series and keep it separate from the old cop stories. I know some people don't like them, but due to the state of the world today, and I want to say this real quick, I never do religion or politics on the podcast, but I want to say this to the people of Ukraine. It is not an incursion or a, whatever they call it, invasion or whatever. It's war. Russia has invaded your country and they're killing y'all. And I hope that you fight for every inch of it. And our prayers and our thoughts go out to you. But that being said, I just gave y'all 2 murder episodes on Shane Hebert. I gave you the Melanie Curtin episode, aggravated rape, and 2 episodes on the murder of little 11-year-old Owen. But I want to do this episode and get this series started because it's important. And you'll be getting this probably 2 weeks from today that we're recording it. But starting it out, y'all, I want to read something, and then I have some ladies here with me in the studio. Okay, so what I want to do to start out this series, and the name of the series is going to be #Justice for Kim Womack. That's WOMACK. And I want to read you this letter dated January 28th of 2020. And it states, R.E. Kimberly Womack, and it gives her social, and her date of birth was 8/6 of 1959. And the date of death is 8/1/2008. And the letter reads this. This fact of death letter is issued in accordance with Louisiana Revised Statute 13/5713G, as in golf. This statute states that this letter shall serve in lieu of a death certificate constituting proof of death for all purposes, including but not limited to any claim under any policy of insurance issued on the life of the deceased individual. This letter attests to the fact of Kimberly Womack, whose date of birth is 8/6 of 1959, who died on the date of 8/1/2008 at the residence of 5549 Lazar Jaro Lane in the parish of Point Capee, This death was a result of a left side subdural hematoma from blunt force trauma to the head. This is still a pending homicide investigation with Point Capee Sheriff's Office. Signed, regards, T.Y. Cheney, ABMDI-D, Chief Investigator, Point Capee Parish Coroner's Office. All right, y'all. The reason I'm doing that, and I want to read that, is so you'll understand this is not a possible homicide case. This is not a question of possible suicide or anything like that. This is a murder case. All right. Homicide, the illegal taking of a human life of one human being of another human being. So let there be no question in your mind that this is a murder case. Now, you see the date, 2008. That's a long time, people. Do the math. 14 years. Okay. So today in the studio, I have with me two ladies, Miss Catherine Simpson and Miss Frida Mick. Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, first of all, for being here. And I know this is not going to be easy. It's not going to be an easy process. Catherine, you and I have talked. We've talked several times, and you've sent me a lot of information, et cetera. But certainly, you know, I'm raw and unscripted for the most part. And I've been looking at your case for a long time. And, you know, I told you I get requests from people all over the world, much less the state of Louisiana, who want me to look at these type cases. And I said I wasn't going to do them anymore until I did the Mary Pocho case. And we had the success again in that, thanks to the lifers. This case is tough, and it's your mama, right?
Right.
And there's nothing easy about you being here, Miss Frida. Nothing easy about you being here.
No.
And Kimberly was your sister?
She was my older sister.
Okay. And y'all, on this first episode, I want to talk about who Kimberly or Kim Womack was in her life, so you can get the human face, and that so that Kim Womack is not just another statistic that you hear about or another unsolved murder that you hear about. We want to get to know who she was. Then we're going to tell the story of what has and hasn't happened in this investigation, this homicide investigation, this murder investigation. And so we'll get to that. But first of all, Catherine, will you tell me who you are and where you're from? And
Sure. So I'm Catherine. I am Kim's daughter. I live in Shreveport right now, but I was born and raised in Baton Rouge. I miss Baton Rouge very much.
Right.
We moved up to Shreveport a few years ago. My husband bought a dental practice there, so we're raising our two sons there. And I very much enjoy coming back in town to see all of my old friends and hopefully to handle this case.
right. Okay. And Miss Frida?
I am Frida Mick. I live in central Louisiana. I've been there since 2000 and was there prior to that. I'd moved to Florida for a little while. 3 kids that are between Baton Rouge and Lafayette, all grown, and one wonderful grandson.
Awesome for you. Good deal. Good deal. Okay. So, Catherine, you were raised where in Baton Rouge?
Central, and not central, but right outside of Baton Rouge, really, in Prairieville. When I was an infant, my mom, Kim, and my dad divorced. And right away, my dad remarried, and it was my dad and my stepmom who I lived with, and I went to visit my mom in intervals. So I was raised right outside of Baton Rouge in Prairieville.
Right. Okay. And, but you got to see your mom on a regular basis.
Always.
And Miss Frida, tell me where y'all grew up. Tell me something about your family, your childhood. And I might ask you a couple crazy questions.
Okay. We were originally from Kentwood.
And how many of
But there were 3 girls, Kim, myself, and Darla, our youngest sister. And she would have been here today, but she cannot get off from work.
outside of Kentwood? And for y'all that are not from here, Kentwood would be in Tangipahoa Parish, north of
Just on the Mississippi line.
North on Hammond, just south of the
Yeah,
Mississippi
on
line.
55, right close
Contreras,
to Mississippi.
slaughterhouse is where I used to
Yeah.
take my deer. I haven't.
I knew
done
some
back in the
Contreras.
day, but so y'all were raised there.
Yeah,
And
yeah, until I was about 10, 11, and our parents divorced, and we started working our way towards Baton Rouge. First it was Watson, and then on to Baker, and then into Baton Rouge.
Okay. Tell me about Kim as a young girl.
Oh,
Or
gosh.
as a child.
Poor Kim.
She,
It's okay.
she was a wild child.
Well, Kim and I, the thing we did best was fight when we were little.
I have 6 brothers. and
Oh, my
sisters. I know
gosh,
all
we
about
fought.
that, right.
But nobody else could mess with
Right,
either one
that's
of
right,
us.
that's right.
Because then we'd take up for the other one, you know.
Right.
But no, it was the 3 of us, just running and playing. Back in those days,
Right.
you could
do
just
that,
go and
right.
come back home later on, get
Right.
fussed at for playing in the red clay and staining the clothes.
So how was she as a sister? And I get what you're saying. I was talking to one of my friends who's a twin the other night, and their dad is still in the state police, and he said, "Look, we would fist fight all the time, but if somebody tried to break us up, and we'd fight them,
Fight them, yeah,
right.
yeah. It'd be a slap and run, slap and run.
Right. I used
See
to
who
run
can
from
get
my
to the
older brother. I'd
She
hit
was-
him, and I'd run. And
She was smaller than me, but she could always beat me.
right. And right when he'd catch up to me, I'd fall down, make him trip over me, and get up.
Yeah.
And run again.
Oh, I'd lay there and yell, "You're killing me! You're killing me!" And
Was
she'd
she-
let me up. I'd hit her and run.
Was she a happy child? Y'all had
She was a very loving, protective big sister. She took that role very seriously, especially as adults after our mom died. She just wanted to step in and
that's important.
take
So
the role,
y'all stayed close.
oh yeah,
And,
yeah.
And was she have friends, or would people like her or not like her? Or
She had friends. She wasn't the type of person to just have everybody she knew were friends, but she did have her friends through school. For the life of me, I can't think of any names of
okay.
anybody.
That's
Yeah.
that's okay. I was just asking, like in
Yeah.
general, like
Yeah, but she
got
did.
along with people.
Yeah.
Was she,
Oh, yeah, yeah. Kim was a very giving, loving person, even as a child. I mean, she'd give you the shirt off of her back
Right.
and not have another one, but she'd figure it out.
Right.
And even as a child, she was.
So she
that
had a
way.
good heart.
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
that's not something you grow out of.
No.
Right.
No.
Okay. So let me ask you one of my favorite questions to ask on these type shows. What do you remember what maybe her favorite food was, or
Pizza.
really?
Pizza.
It wasn't
everybody
like you
loves
got the pizza a lot in Kentwood. It had to be a real treat.
And crushed ice. From
Crushed
Salt.
ice.
Really?
Yeah. Good
I was
Lord.
obsessed with crushed,
Crushed ice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And her daily Coke of crushed ice.
Do you remember any specific time? Of course, I can remember any specific time as a child that y'all got in trouble for something silly, or
I can remember getting her in trouble because I was the tattletale. Mama, Kim's ringing the church bell again.
yeah, right, right,
Because it was a friend of mine that was getting blamed for it.
right. So just
But-
all American.
Yeah, yeah. I remember one time when we were probably 5th and 6th grade, something like that, in a nice little neighborhood in Baker, and we had a tent in the backyard. We were camping out that night, and there were some other kids camping out too, and we're all out in the street. It's about 11, 12 o'clock, but we're not doing anything. And the cops drive by, and everybody runs and hides behind a bush.
Just
You
for the
know,
fun of it.
and then Kim comes out. She just had a way, even as a child, to just, hi, Yeah, we're camping in the backyard, and we're just out looking at the stars and whatnot. We've seen some shooting stars, and one of the cops, oh, I see one.
Right.
So it's like, all right, y'all go back where you belong.
Yeah.
So then Kim comes and gets everybody else out of hiding.
It's always a little leader.
Yeah.
So cool. And then y'all migrate at some point towards Baton Rouge or whatever. Tell me how she was, just anything that you remember about her.
One of the main things I remember as we moved through Baton Rouge was when we moved to South Baton Rouge, and she met Catherine's dad, Mark. You know, that was a big turning point for her. Even as young as she was, you could just see, you know.
Hey, y'all. You've heard me talk about Just Thrive before, but let me tell you about it again. If you want to hear something that's truly gruesome, 9 out of 10 Americans suffer from some type of gut issue, gas, bloating, diarrhea, acid reflux, and it's so common, people think it's a normal part of their life. But 80% of your immune system lives in your gut, meaning an unhealthy gut equals weak immunity. Probiotics are supposed to be the best way to support the gut. However, research shows 99.9% of the probiotics die in your naturally harsh stomach acid before they get where they're needed. This is what makes Just Thrive probiotics so. Hey y'all, let me tell you about Gobble. All Gobble meal kits are pre-prepped. That means less work for you and less waste in your kitchen. Their meal kits include everything you need so you can save time at the store or just skip that trip entirely. I got the box in and I had 3 different meals. I had a Kung Pao chicken, crispy fish tacos, and a beef bourguignon, however you say it. But let me tell you about the classic beef bourguignon. Look, it came with beef pot roast and a beef broth concentrate, red wine demi-glace, cremini mushrooms, cipollone onions, mashed potatoes, baby carrots, and rosemary thyme butter. It was so easy to make. Literally like 15 minutes it took Cindy. And let me tell you something, and all the dishes were fire, but this thing was like a taste explosion in my mouth. It's just unreal. We've got to spend more time together and more time doing the things we love because everything came in this one single box right to my door. So see what a difference Gobble will make for your household. Right now, they're offering my listeners a fantastic limited time deal. You get $120 off across 4 boxes plus free shipping and free cookies. And let me tell you, those cookies, I ate one that was sin baked and it was delicious. Go to gobble.com/real life. That's GOBBLE.com/real life for $120 off your first 4 boxes. This offer is not available on the home site, so don't miss out. This is genius. It's taste explosions in your mouth like you never had. Hey ladies, are you feeling overwhelmed by hormonal changes? Well, you're definitely not alone. There are more than 1,000 hormone disruptors living in our environment right now. It's in your food, your water, the air you breathe, the clothes you wear, your skincare products. They all mess with your hormones. Then there's the natural hormone changes your body goes through, premenopause, menopause. And while it's a natural process, it doesn't mean you have to suffer through it. The good news is you don't have to suffer through it anymore because now you have Hormone Harmony, a formula made only with herbal ingredients that are shown to reduce hormonal symptoms in women of all ages. Hormone Harmony is not just a hormone support and supplement. It's become a phenomenon. Women can't stop talking about it on social media. A bottle of Hormone Harmony is sold every 24 seconds. And the biggest benefit? Well, my wife says it makes her feel like her own self again. And that's what women mention over and over in the reviews. And there are over 30,000 reviews for Hormone Harmony. And for a limited time, you can get 15% off your entire first order at happymammoth.com. Just use code RLRC at checkout. That's happymammoth.com and use code RLRC for 15% off today. That's HAPPYMAMMOTH.com and use code RLRC. Revolutionary. Proprietary formula is designed by nature to protect itself when conditions get rough. Studies have proven that Just Thrive probiotic arrives 100% alive in your gut, making them uniquely effective for gas, constipation, and bloating, and providing much needed immune support. It's vegan friendly, gluten free, dairy free, histamine free, and non-GMO. Safe for just about any age, including moms to be. Endorsed by some of the biggest health luminaries on the planet. To give your body the crucial immune and digestive support and feel your best, there's nothing like the award-winning Just Thrive probiotic. Y'all, I've been taking it now for about a month and a half, and it really helps with indigestion and just makes me feel better overall. So there's nothing like the award-winning Just Thrive probiotic. Get 15% off. Go to justthrivehealth.com and use code RLRC at checkout. That's 15% off by going to justthrivehealth.com and use code RLRC at checkout.
Kim always had a job. Once she was a teenager, she always worked. She loved to cook.
Do you remember anything specific or just
Desserts.
Desserts. Yeah, desserts. And she used to make killer spaghetti that she learned from Catherine's grandpa.
Yep. Is there some Italian in there?
My maiden name is
Rumfellow.
There you go. I bet it was good spaghetti then.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. But she just adored being around her nieces, nephews, her grandson, She loved her family,
Right.
And she did have very dear, close friends. There wasn't a lot from younger years, but as she got older, the friends she chose were friends for life.
Life happens and you grow up, right?
Yep.
So, Catherine, tell me some memories about your mama from the young days to.
It's strange. In the days prior to today, I was thinking about my mom growing up and what that was like and how I would describe her. And I always had just this incredible respect for my mom because I knew that she had experienced some trauma in childhood at a very, very young age. But it was very serious. And that was something that I knew that she was dealing with and didn't really get proper help for. And I could see that she compensated for that by helping other people. She became an EMT, which I thought was incredible when I was younger. I remember going to visit there and meeting the other friends who would sit in the ambulance, and I was so impressed with it all. And she became a safety tech in the plants when Exxon exploded back in
89.
89 or 90.
She was there.
She was there. It wasn't her fault.
No.
No.
But she did help clean up in the aftermath. And she also did fire department training. And so growing up, I would meet different police officers and go to different fire stations. And I was so impressed with the way that I always knew, even at a very young age, that she was making up for that hurt on the inside of her by helping other people. Yeah. So she was a little crazy. She was a little boisterous and outgoing and bouncy. And, if someone is going to say something hilariously inappropriate, it will be her.
Right.
She's the one.
No filter.
None.
Yeah.
But mostly growing up, I can remember, it seems so strange to be a person who witnesses so many car wrecks, but I can think of at least 3 where we happen to witness a car wreck, and of course her arm comes flying out, to protect me, but then she jumps out and she's going assist these people, and I just thought my mom was superhero. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And we had a ton of fun at home on the weekends. She's just like I am now. She didn't go out and do much, but she and I would stay home and rent movies, and I would love to marker those, the velvet black posters that you can sell to kids. Black velvet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I loved those. And she would buy me a ton of those, and we would sit at home in her super over-decorated house. Wherever she was, it was curtains and pillows and blankets and plush stuff. And we'd watch movies, and I'd paint those posters. And it was great. It was fun.
Yeah.
It was simple. It was pure.
She was a good mama to you.
She was. And I knew that despite the fact that I lived with my dad and my stepmom,
Right.
my mom had to work. She was working constantly, and especially when she was a safety tech in the plants or an EMT with the different, job schedules. What's the word I'm looking for?
The hours.
The hours,
Yeah.
yes.
7 12.
So I always knew that whatever she may have lacked, it was due to that trauma that she never really got help for. That no one in her life, especially at that time period, you didn't talk about anxiety or depression the way people do now. But I knew about it, and I knew anything that she made a mistake on. It was so very easy to quickly forgive her because you know where she's coming from, and and at the end of her life, she was still stitching up fish hook cuts out at False River and helping her neighbors and taking care of her landlord's elderly mother. Yeah, that's all she did.
Helping people. That's what she liked.
She,
That
she
is
was
absolutely
a caregiver.
very much.
Yeah.
It was like caring for other people almost healed her.
Made up, yeah. That was her own kind of therapy.
Right. So, loving, worked hard.
Yes. Very,
Great mother.
very
great,
fun.
Great sister. Had a zest for life.
She'd come out to Aunt Frida's house, and Aunt Frida had a big pool. And my mom would bring from the dollar store all of these ridiculous plastic toys to blow up for the kids and have a ton of fun. And then at the end of it, Frida's left picking everything up.
She's been known to fill kids' rooms full of balloons for their birthdays overnight.
She does
Yeah.
a lot.
She did a lot of fun stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, she's an exclamation point.
She brought joy to people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's important, right? In the later years, the getting close to 2008, or tell me when she moved to Point Capee.
You probably know a little better. She started to date an attorney, and he had a camp out there, and he, I think, was recently divorced, and so he was staying at that camp, and she moved in with him, and that's when she moved to Point Capee. Even though that relationship didn't last, they stayed on good terms.
Yeah.
And so she stayed out there and found another home out there and settled in out there.
And so, so the people will know, y'all, Point Capee Parish is across the river from West Feliciana Parish, the Mississippi River. And when I grew up, my grandfather had the first camp on the town side, almost directly across the street from the Catholic Church where the public boat launch is. So that's where I spent all my summers.
Oh, wow.
And then when I was in the National Guard, my unit was in New Roads or False River, y'all. That's what they call it. So False River, when we talk about that, that's used to be part of the Mississippi River. They got cut off over the hundreds of years or whatever, and it's like 12 or 13 miles long and the same width of the Mississippi River. So I have a lot of history there too. And it's a beautiful place, right? And there's the town side, the New Road side, and then the gyro side,
The island
side, right? And so she stayed out there, and I get
She
why.
loved it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's beautiful, and I have to be by the water even to this day, right? And then we lost our big home on the island for Ida this year, but I still get it, and needing to be on the water and all that. So she moved there, and she was happy. Did she have any pets or anything like that?
No.
Okay, all right.
Never a pet person.
No.
She worked
Right,
too.
right,
She
right.
worked too much. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe a fish.
So when
She did have fish.
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. So when she was there, she was still working
Yes.
as
Yes. She had recently been into a car accident where she had a couple little injuries on her back, and then she also needed a hysterectomy. So she could no longer work in the plants. She was doing drug testing for the railroad, and then she would supplement her income working at a store right out there on the river, a little like a convenience store.
I think it was Dollar General. Yeah.
okay, all right. And this is about what year?
2007, 2008.
Yeah.
2007, 2008. And do you know if she was in a relationship or anything at that time?
So first, when she moved out there, she was dating I hesitate to just name people.
You don't
so I
have to
just
say
say
the
the
names. You
attorney.
don't have to say the names. That's fine. You can
Yeah.
say
Just
it.
find a way to identify him.
Yeah.
So she moved out there with him, and we like him very much to this day. They did not stay romantic. They did split up, but again, it was very amicable. She moved to another camp nearby, and they remained friends. And then she began in 2008, the beginning of 2008, I believe. She began to date again a friend that she had dated when I was younger.
Were they from there or
Baton Rouge.
Baton Rouge?
Yeah, this is somebody she's known
Baton Rouge
most
or
of her life.
Baton Rouge or West
West
Baton
Baton
Rouge?
Rouge.
West Baton Rouge?
Well, the residence would be in Baton Rouge proper.
Well, when she met him.
but
it
when
was
she
in
met
Baton
him,
Rouge. He was a city cop.
He was a city cop for Baton Rouge City.
She had a lot of cops that she was friends with. in the-
EMTs do that,
Yeah.
right? I
Yeah.
everyone I ever worked with, right?
Yep.
And they kind of stick together, I guess, because you see the same things. And it's just like when I got into law enforcement, an old time, I call him Uncle Pete Charlet. He told me, he said, the one piece of advice I can give you is keep somebody that's outside, that's not in law enforcement as a friend, because all you're going to want to do is get sucked into that circle because they understand you.
Right.
But keep somebody outside to keep you grounded, but most people don't. And then we used to go to the parties and you could always tell, like Christmas parties, whatever, you could always tell where the cops were in the room because they're all huddled together and everybody else is doing their own thing. So I get that. So she was dating this cop who used to be of Baton Rouge City.
Yes, I had. She'd known him my whole life. I remember when I was very young, she brought me over to his house because I believe they met. You could correct me on this, but she took care of his wife who was ill somehow.
She had a massive stroke at a very young age, and Kim helped with her
And
helped with their little boy.
so I remember going over there and meeting his little boys. I remember one of them preferred flat Dr. Pepper to normal Dr. Pepper.
Right.
We had little things like that. And I remember I got a ticket once and she gave me his phone number and I called him on, I still don't understand what it was on, but it was on some type of line where once he answered, everyone could hear us. And I'm going, can you fix my ticket? And he was saying, there's no such thing as fixing a ticket. Everyone can hear you.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine was going into the Marines and he ran a red light. And so my Uncle Tommy helped out with that. And so it was no surprise in 2008 when she came to us and said that she was romantically involved with him again. I grew up calling him uncle, despite no relation. That's
Right.
you know how.
Well, that's a Southern thing.
That's
Yeah.
a Southern-
Most people didn't get
Everybody's
that.
related.
Yes, I've had too many
Well,
people.
when I grew up, it was Uncle George or Uncle Pete or whatever, but it's just my parents' best friends.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
And that's a real sign, a term of endearment. If you're not from the South, you're not going to get it, listeners. But it's like the uncles that you want to have, I guess. Or the aunts that
Right.
wanna
The ones you would
have.
choose.
The ones that you would choose, because the Lord knows you can't choose your family.
Can't
right?
choose your family. Yep.
So she became, she told y'all she was dating them.
She told you to, right? Of course.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah, she told us both. She told our whole family that they were dating again. I rode to New Orleans with her shortly before she died, and she was on the phone practically.
Let me interrupt you.
Sure.
And I'm going to do this from time to time because I have hundreds of thousands of hours of interview and interrogation. And when I do it on these stories specifically, I'm not telling you what to say or what not to say, but your mama didn't die. She was murdered.
Right.
All right, before her homicide. I'm sorry, but this is the truth. And,
Right.
and family members all the time when I talk to them like that, so before they died, I said, no, but they didn't die. Your mom was murdered, brutally murdered from what I've read. Okay. Yeah. And I'm sorry. And I hate to bring it back down like that, but it's a fact. Yeah. And that's why we're here. Right. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're right.
Before she was murdered.
So before she was murdered, she had let us all know that she was, again, romantically involved with my Uncle Tommy. And I remember hearing her on the phone with him during that long trip to New Orleans. And I could hear them talking and saying, I love you. And he said hello to me through her, and I said hello to him. And I got married in April. She was murdered in August, or her body was found August 1st. So the April prior, I was getting married, and she asked me if my Uncle Tommy could come and sit in the back of the church, sort of surreptitiously. And I said, why can't he just come as a normal guest? And I never really got an answer to that question. You remember that was a big deal because she brought up what he had done for me when I was growing up, when I was little.
Why do you think she asked about the back of the church versus the front?
Well, now I know that he was married. We didn't know that then.
And this is to the same lady that had the stroke or whatever?
No.
So he was married to somebody else.
Second wife.
Right.
So, all right.
So we had no clue.
So here's the deal. We're all human beings, okay? And we certainly are not here today or on this series to sit in judgment on your mama doing whatever or not doing whatever. We're all sinners. We all, so I get we just don't want to sugarcoat anything. We'll just tell the truth.
Yes.
But no matter what, your mama didn't deserve to be murdered.
Absolutely.
No, she did
Okay.
not.
It doesn't matter who you are, how you live your life. No one deserves to be killed.
Yep.
And so, and that, of course, I believe in telling the truth, the good, bad, or the indifferent. You know why?
Spark something uncommon this holiday with just the right gift from Uncommon Goods. The busy holiday season is here, and Uncommon Goods makes it less stressful with incredible hand-picked gifts for everyone on your list, all in one spot. Gifts that spark joy, wonder, delight, and that's exactly what I wanted feeling. Hey, y'all, I ordered a super cool piece. It's a candle with a sculpture of LSU's Tiger Stadium on top of it. And each officially licensed laser cut wooden replica features up to 4 layers of detail, creating a bird's eye view of a specific football field, seating section, and more. And every label includes your stadium's name, the team's logo, and school location. And it has a coconut, soy, vegan wax infused with sandalwood smell that creates tailgates and touchdowns scent profile, reminiscent of game day. It's invigorating like fresh cut grass and nostalgic like smoke from a pre-game grill, and calming like the crisp autumn air of a new semester on campus. Y'all, I love it. I have it at the base of my TV, and I'm ready to watch the Tigers play on Saturday night, right? Uncommon Goods. Look, when you shop at Uncommon Goods, you're supporting artists and small independent businesses. And many of their handcrafted products are made in small batches. So shop now before they sell out this holiday season. Uncommon Goods looks for products that are high quality, unique, and often handmade or made in the U.S. They have the most meaningful, out of the ordinary gifts anywhere. They even have gifts you can personalize. From holiday hosts and hostess gift to the coolest finds for kids to hits for everyone from the book lovers to diehard sports fans. Uncommon Goods has something for everyone, not the same old selections you can just find anywhere. And with every purchase you make at Uncommon Goods, they give $1 to a nonprofit partner of your choice. They've donated more than $3 million to date. So to get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/RLRC. That's uncommongoods.com/RLRC for 15% off. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. Uncommon Goods, we're all out of the ordinary.
Again, there's nothing that can be told that justifies a person being murdered.
Yep.
Right. And sticking to the truth, I think, helps reveal
Absolutely.
the truth. I mean, that's what we want.
That's right. We right now, and I just got the goosebumps for the first time. Right now, we're putting the human face on your mama and your sister. And guess what? Humans are humans.
Right.
And none of us are perfect.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay.
My mom was desperate, I think, to be loved.
Yeah.
Her trauma from very young had to do with her father. And I think she really wanted to make up for that. She wanted a family. She wanted to be loved, and she wanted a family.
Yeah.
And,
well, you know what? And that's okay too. But I mean, because she was seeing someone that was married, that doesn't give her a reason to be murdered.
That was a relationship that went on
Oh, a lifetime. Her lifetime.
Yeah.
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 So, right. So she asked if he could sit in the back of the church, and she and I got into an argument about it because she reminded me of some things he had helped me with when I was younger that I felt were embarrassing and shouldn't be tied to my wedding. And so it was a strange issue. And I didn't realize, like I said, that he couldn't just come as a normal guest. And then let's see, we moved on. That summer we came out to my Aunt Frida's house quite often and swam in her pool. My mom would jump around and play with the kids. She had a great time. And then early July, she told us that she was going away for the weekend with my Uncle Tommy, and she was going to Lake Charles. He had a CSI training event through the West Baton Rouge Sheriff's Department, which is where he works now.
And in what capacity does he work there?
I believe he's the head of records. I think.
In 2008, was that his capacity?
He was a detective.
He was a detective. In West Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office, y'all, again, West Baton Rouge kind of explains itself. It's just across the Mississippi River. It would be just south of Point Capee Parish, which is where your mama was living at the time of her murder. And y'all have heard me talk about West Baton Rouge and the Justice for Mary series, but so he was a detective at that time, and you said she was going to a training
event.
And do you know where that was?
In Lake Charles.
Right.
For the weekend.
And do you know anything else about that?
I do. So they went away for the weekend and came back home, but I didn't know until public records request in 2020 that another deputy accompanied them on that trip. Deputy Brian Doucette accompanied them. And I don't know if he got his own room or if he stayed in the room with them, but I do know that he picked my mom up and rode to and from the event with my Uncle Tommy.
Right. And for the listeners out there, they're going to know that name because he was the detective that was involved in Mary Pouchot's case from West Baton Rouge Sheriff's Office.
Right.
Small world, right?
Very small world.
All right. So that sticks out in your mind.
Very much.
And then what happens?
So that was 3 weeks prior to her murder. I knew about that. And I just kind of went on. I was married at the time, and I had my kids, and I had things going on in church, and I was busy. And I knew she was going to Lake Charles, and I kind of put it out of my mind and moved on and moved along with our busyness and what we were doing towards the end of that summer. And then next thing I heard was that she had died.
Okay, let's talk about that. I'm going to back up for 1 second. I'm going to ask you both this question real quick. What is the last time you remember talking to your mama, or if you remember the last thing y'all talked about or last time you talked to her or anything before?
I can't remember.
Okay, that's fine. That's the truthful answer.
Either.
That's good. But that's, this shows that this is not rehearsed, obviously.
Yeah.
All right. So then they take it to the next question. On the murder date, which is August 1,
The day she was
2008,
found.
the day she was found. What are y'all doing, and how do you get the call? and then we're going to stop it there. But go ahead, Miss Frida.
My youngest son and I had just left the house, headed out to do dorm room shopping. He was headed off to college. And I remember we were at the intersection of Jor and Hooper, and her attorney friend called me and asked if I had talked to her in the last couple of days. And I said, no, I haven't. I said, is everything okay? And he said, well, I don't know. He said another neighbor out that way had called him and told him there were a lot of cop cars, and it looked like it was at Kim's. They weren't sure.
At Kim's residence.
Right. So I turned around and went back home, and about the time I got in the house, he called back and said that it was at her house. And I knew then, I just sank to the floor. I knew.
Did he say anything besides the cops are at her house?
No, he didn't know.
He
didn't know. He was in town. He had an office in Baton Rouge. He was in town, and somebody out there called him and told him.
Right.
It looked like a lot of cop cars at Kim's house.
And you said you fell to the floor and you knew.
Yeah. I just
What did you feel like?
instinctively I knew she was gone.
Yeah.
It just
like,
it just washes over you, you know.
Yeah.
And I called the sheriff's department. They said they had been trying to reach me. They had her phone. I don't know what the problem was. And I told them I was coming, and I remember hearing one of them in the background saying, "She's coming here?" And I said, "No, I'm going to the sheriff's office." I did not want to be at the scene.
But then when you called, did they tell you she was deceased?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you say you're going to the sheriff's office.
And then I went.
But did somebody in the background said she's coming here?
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah,
no.
it was very shocked. "She's coming here?"
Yeah.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you go to the sheriff's office.
Yeah, went to the Point Capee Sheriff's Office. And they didn't really have a lot to say at that point, more questions than anything else.
All right, well, hold that thought for me for 1 second. How did you hear?
So at the end of the summer, my husband at the time that I had just married in April, he and I and my son, Braxton, were bringing his daughter back to the Texas state line to drop her off with her mother after the summer. Mm-hmm. And Frida called me when we were on our way. We had just gotten on the road, and I explained to her what I was doing, and she said, "Okay, well, then I'll talk to you when you get back in town." And I knew something was wrong. I could hear it in her voice. I thought she had been in a fight with her husband or something. I never, of course, you don't think someone's dead.
Nobody's going to think
Right.
that someone was murdered.
So the whole way there and back, I'm thinking about how I'm going to help her, build her up with maybe the fight she's had with her husband. And they met us.
Okay, so you come back to Baton Rouge, you go to the Albertsons parking lot. On college, I used to go there all the time, and you meet with who?
I met with my Aunt Frida and her husband, my Uncle Ben.
And what happens with you?
They picked up my son for me, Braxton. They watch Braxton all the time, and they knew the news that they were about to give me. So they wanted to, take my son so I could babysit my son so I could deal with that. And my Aunt Frida here told me that she just said, Kim has passed. Kim has passed away. And it was... There wasn't any emotion because I couldn't understand. What do you mean passed away? And I remember seconds would tick by, and I was waiting on something to happen, on it to hit me, and I just stayed numb. It was so strange. It was like time stopped. And Frida said that she had been told that there weren't any injuries, that there weren't any visible injuries. The landlord who found her, I believe, was the one who said there weren't any visible injuries. And so right away, my mind went to something medical, perhaps. Maybe I knew she needed a hysterectomy. Maybe something happened there. Someone having hurt her never for the first second entered my mind. Not once.
Right.
And so I went home with my husband and thought, okay, I guess this is, it took forever for it to sink in.
Yeah.
It was almost as though I knew there was it was almost as though I knew there was so much more. I couldn't feel anything until I knew all of the more.
Right. So let me ask you one more question, and then we're going to stop right now. How old was your mama?
47.
47 years old, which is 5 years younger than me, whatever the age I am now.
Mm-hmm.
And on August 1st, 2008.
Was when she was found.
That's when she was found. That's when y'all were told.
When we found out, yeah.
When y'all were told she was deceased. Yeah. Right?
There's a 4-day window.
Y'all, I've already read you the official letter about the autopsy and this was in 2020, where they say this is still an active homicide investigation. And I'm going to stop this first part of hashtag Justice for Kim Womack. And next week, we're going to dive into the reason that I took this case. I want everybody to hear it, the good, the bad, the indifferent. I don't care whose toes we step on, what we have to do. I want the story to be told, and these ladies are going to tell it for you. No matter how long it takes. And when we get done, you'll understand why I'm taking this case. And when I wrap it up, I'll tell you exactly what I think, and I'll tell you what I'm going to do, and then you can do with it what you will. And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. And I'm going to conclude this first part for hashtag Justice for Kim Womack. Now, a couple Real Life, Real Crime announcements. As always, thank you, Patreon members and convicts, for your support. I appreciate it. You absolutely. I could not do these shows without it. I don't make any money from these families, not a dime, and it takes a lot of time and effort to, do these cases. So thank you for your support. We couldn't do it without you. Real Life, Real Crime community app. Y'all go download it, check it out. It's got everything. Real Life, Real Crime times infinity. Super cool. I'm going there every day first before all the other social media and answering questions and doing posts, etc. So go check it out. Also, Instagram at Real Life, Real Crime. I post funny videos and stuff on there, or just different little things. So y'all go follow me on that, and I think you'll enjoy it. And then our YouTube channel, y'all, this episode and each episode in this series are going to be on a YouTube channel, and you can get to see Miss Catherine and Miss Frida if you want to, and you get to see me doing this actual live recording. And Jim Chapman with Envision Podcast Studios makes those special and puts things up in the background, etc. So if you go to YouTube, look up Real Life, Real Crime Podcast. You can't just do Real Life, Real Crime Podcast. And so on Real Life, Real Crime Podcast, YouTube, hit subscribe. And anytime I post a new video, whether it's an episode or not, you'll get it. And look, I do a lot of stuff, like I'm about to do one from a crawfish boil we did last week. That's being put together, and, I put some stupid ones on there or whatever. But if you want more Real Life, Real Crime, you can go check that out also. And finally, LOPA, Louisiana Organ Procurement Agency. Y'all, take a moment, go to lopa.org, sign up to be an organ donor, give the gift of life, be a hero, life, sight, whatever. And like I always say, if you, it's a very small percentage of the population that ever organs are donated. And guess what? If that happens, you're not going to care. You're going to be dead anyway. That helps somebody else out, right? But if you're a lifer from, give me a country, anywhere in the world.
Australia.
If you're a lifer from Australia and you want to become an organ donor, go to lopa.org, take a minute and sign up. You don't have to be from Louisiana. Be a hero. And I'm Woody Overton, your host of Real Life, Real Crime, the podcast. Until next time, or ever, don't let me catch you down on Murder Bayou. Peace. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have a right to an attorney prior to and during any question. If you can't afford one, the court will appoint one for you. Do you understand your rights?